Hi, I'm Jonathan, and today on Hanging Out with the Guides, we have Ara Parisien. Ara, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Ara Parisien is an internationally renowned natural-born psychic medium, clear channel for a higher consciousness called the Council of 12, and spiritual teacher. She incorporates the power and knowledge of universal laws to help her students understand both the nature of who they truly are and the mechanics of the process of creation. She is also the author of Threshold of Transformation and The Other Side of Grief. So, Ara, tell me about who you are and what you believe your role is in this life. When you leave this world, what impact do you want to have left?
That's a huge question. I am a spiritual teacher who happens to use the living universal laws as the instructional process for people in their lives. And as well as I am a psychic and I am a medium, so I do manage to offer life guidance on all issues, and as well link people and connect them with loved ones that have transitioned on back to non-physical energy. It's hugely rewarding, and just to see the healing process take place and little light bulbs go on here and there, it's absolutely exactly what I came here to do, for sure. And what do I want to leave this world? I just want to be able to empower individuals through any kind of tools that I am using to live the life they came here to live and become who they came here to be. That's what I would love to be able to be remembered by. And even if I do that for one person, then I consider it a job well done.
That's a good gauge of things. If we could recognize that one person is enough, then we would all be able to be feeling like successes rather than looking at the, having expectations that are way beyond something that seems reasonable for us to reach, where then we're discouraged every step of the way because we're not there. But if it's one person, if one person would be enough, then on some level we can have confidence that we're already there. We're already accomplishing our mission, and then we're in that mindset of, I'm accomplishing my mission. I am here. I'm already accomplishing my mission. I'm not a failure until I succeed. I'm already there. I'm already a success.
Exactly. I love the way you put that, Jonathan. And the other thing that comes into play is that we don't know the impact we have on one another, and we may never know. And we can't allow that to hold us back from doing what we should be doing, and that is, for me, to be of service to others.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So how did you get to where you are today? Tell me some of the key parts of your story that might allow people, wherever they are in their own paths, to relate to you and the path you traveled to where you are now.
Well, that is another huge question. And really, what I look upon my past as are all the little gory details, and we all have them in life. And to me, they're just details. But in order to get to where I am now, I had to go through and accumulate those details and transmute them into the wisdom that they were meant to be for me. So when we look at isolated experiences, I did grow up in a very abusive home. I was a victim of child abuse. And my father did try to kill me at one point, which is when I left. And I healed through that child abuse, and I healed through the betrayal that we all feel at the hands of someone we believe to be an authority. The most important thing that I did, though, was I have forgiven my father for his choices and how they impacted me. But most importantly, I forgave myself for allowing myself to be the victim of it for so long. And I don't regret anything that truly ever happened to me, because it did accelerate me on my path and put me exactly where I needed to be. So it allowed me the opportunity to master the lower vibrational energies that everyone in life experiences, so that I am in a very good position to help others through theirs as well.
It's always very powerful to be able to hear how we could go through some pretty intense things in this world, and that we could take it and grow from it and end up in a good place despite those things, but ultimately not just despite those things, but because of those things, and that we could end up being able to see purpose in those things having happened in retrospect, knowing that we learned from them, we grew from them, we are who we are because of them.
Exactly. And I'm a firm believer, just because of what I have been through and what I have gained and learned through all of that, is that we are not a byproduct of our experiences. Everything happens for us. Nothing ever happens to us. And once we get our head around that, we're more apt to move out of victimhood and into empowerment so that we can live life the way we're supposed to.
Well put. I like that a lot. It's happening for us. So it's for us to learn from it. It's for us to grow and expand because of it. And you're right. When we look at the world that way, we can grow so much from our experiences rather than staying the victim, like you said.
Well, yeah. I mean, it isn't something that I want to go back and redo.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's all good at the same time. Once you can get yourself to understand that you are not the victim in it, then everything begins to change in your life.
The thing is, once we know what we've learned from it, we don't need to go back and do it again, because it's an irrelevant thing. The whole point is that we only created it because we didn't know. We only brought it to us because we didn't know. And if we knew, we wouldn't be doing that, because we'd already have the lesson that we would learn from it. There's no reason to have the experience. It's because we needed to learn the lesson that we had the experience. And so then we could be grateful for the experience afterward, but know that if we had already known the lesson, we would never have brought something like that to us, and we would never choose to do so. Yes. Ultimately at this moment.
I absolutely agree with you. And again, it's never about the experience at all. It's what you do with the experience that dictates what kind of path is unfolding before you. You're in complete control, always.
An important reminder.
Yes.
So with all of these lessons here, what are some of the most important lessons you've learned on your journey, and who have been some of your greatest teachers?
I think there's so many, there's several actually greatest lessons, and one of them that I inspire in other people, hopefully as often as I possibly can, is that we all matter, and we all are deserving. Simple as we breathe, no value from anyone else, you are deserving. And if you really kind of look at, that term, you matter, that's exactly what you are. You're matter. You're matter manifest. And so you are that matter that is morphing life as it unfolds. So you are, again, in complete control. We are also miracles in motion. We always, beseech and petition and beg for these miracles to occur. And yet we are the miracle in motion at all times. And what a miracle really is when that manifestation hits, when we sincerely doubted it would, right? Like there's always those times, or when we're unaware. But we have that capacity within us all the time. So we are those miracles in motion. The other thing that is vastly important is that we are also unconditional love. That is who we are at a base level. We cannot be anything else. And once we come into this lifetime, we spend a lot of our time and effort seeking out the love, seeking to be validated by others. And when it comes to unconditional love, how many times have you heard people say, oh, I love unconditionally, but look at that person over there, like that's driving me crazy. And right away we veto that unconditionality of things. And so the biggest lesson for me was to understand that we're not here to seek or demand unconditional love from everyone else. We are here simply to express it. And once we have tapped into that wealth of power that we are through unconditional love, we begin to heal that which is around us and that which is within us. And when you think of it in those terms, that's not just on an individual level, that's on a global scale, if not a universal scale. we're more powerful than we actually realize, and yet we're so busy worried about what everyone else is doing. So unconditional love is a really a big one for me. The Council of 12 has taught me that we live life backwards. Everything is backwards in how we see things and how we do things and how we expect things. The first thing they told me was, you rejoice at the birth of a child and you despair at the loss of a loved one, when really you should have it the other way around, because that child being born is moving away from their remembering their power and who they truly are. And when a person passes, no matter how deeply they are loved, they are engaging once again and being immersed into their remembering. So we do have this backwards. So the rule of thumb for me is that anytime I met with a challenge, I immediately turn it around and look at it from the opposite vantage point, which actually is a good reminder, because the law of polarity states that there has to be one without the, cannot be one without the other. And so I'm constantly shifting things around and looking at them from different vantage points so that I can find the gift in it before I get too focused on the catalyst of it, right? So those are some of the biggest things that I have learned along the way that I really want to share with people and inspire them into having their own experiences regarding them, because then it becomes a living thing and more believable. My greatest teachers, that's really an interesting question, because I have many people that I admire, and there are a few without doubt that have inspired me. One being Deepak Chopra. I love his take on things. And the other one that really inspired me to look deeper into the metaphysical part is Gary Zukov. Of all people, he wrote The Seat of the Soul. And that one turned everything around for me as well. And the council, I think, was behind me on that one, because he did have me turn everything completely around to see things from a different angle. And everything began to make sense. So those are the two greatest inspirations here on this planet. And I have to include the Dalai Lama in there. I'm a big fan. And when it comes to teaching, though, the teachers that have taught me most are my own spirit guides and that higher consciousness, the Council of 12. They have been with me since first breath, and they will continue to be with me through this lifetime and the next and the next and the next. They taught me total trust, which is what this work requires. Trust me on that.
All very empowering lessons, if we could remember and implement them all the time, to be able to remember to trust, to remember to love unconditionally, to remember that we are the miracle, and to remember to look at things from the perspective of afterward, rather than looking at the perspective from here going forward, that we look at the perspective that we would have if we were looking backward and we'd already learned from them. And we were already in a better place because of them, that we could then go through the experiences and really trust and unconditionally love and recognize the miracles, even as there's seeming negativity around us, and even as it might not be the most pleasant experience at every moment, and then be able to look back already before we've even gotten to the place of looking back physically, and be able to say, you know, I see that this has already led me to fantastic lessons. I'm excited to experience the journey that's going to lead me to those fantastic lessons, and I trust that that's where it's leading me. And I unconditionally love everyone who is a messenger of the experiences for me. That we can put it all together like that and recognize I am the source of my own miracles here, and I already know that this is going to turn out in a way that looks miraculous. And I'm excited to see where it leads and how it leads there.
Well, if you do it that way, Jonathan, then you are spending more time on the celebration aspect of things, as opposed to, oh my God, what am I going to do side of things. So we can get out of our own way just by flipping things around. And I think that's really, really important.
I completely agree. Definitely. In all of these lessons and all of these experiences, what have you concluded is the purpose of life? Why are we here?
I think, I wish I had a concrete answer, and all I can really offer is what I have gleaned and believe to know thus far. And as we both know, that always morphs and changes as we go, because as we evolve, so does our truth, right? But for now, right where I am sitting in this lifetime, I think the first thing we're here to do is to express that unconditional love. The second thing we are here to do is to learn to create responsibly. We have been given this wonderful playground called Mother Earth that we are able to use our own free will and to choose to create good or choose to create chaos and everything in between. And we are here to create that which we prefer. And sometimes we all know what it is we prefer, but we're quick to judge what others prefer. And we need to kind of reach in and pull that back a little bit. The other thing I think we're here to do is, I'm trying to find the right words here, is we actually are expanding consciousness just by breathing. But the expansion also occurs by every thought we think, every feeling we have, and every choice we make. And so when we're doing that, we're expanding source through self. It's twofold. And when we do that, ultimately, what is occurring is that I believe we're perpetuating eternity at the same time. Nothing can be destroyed. It can only be added unto. So here we are. Think how many billions of people are on this planet right now, all thinking and feeling and choosing, and consciousness is expanding. Admittedly, in some perspectives, it's not expanding in a direction that is of preference, but we have the power, we are the power that can effect great change at the drop of a hat in every moment. So that to me is what our purpose is here to do, as well as to help one another find their way back to that remembering, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense, of course.
Good. Yeah.
So to add to that here, tell me about God. Who or what is God, and what is our relation to such a source or being, or however you think of this?
Okay, well, source is, to me, all there is. It's the manifest and it's the unmanifest. It is in everything, everywhere, at all times, all at once. Not just here on this planet and on this level of existence, but everywhere, all at once. And it is in knowing that that is source energy. Everything that we can discern with our five senses right here in this lifetime is source energy. It becomes living, and we should learn and remind ourselves to revere it. You're the same as me. We're all the same stuff. We're all one because we're all that stuff that is source. And we're simply here expressing it differently. I'm as much source as you are, as the rocks in my driveway right now. I mean, everything, all there is source energy. And we are expanding that all the time. And so to me, I never believed, I could never reconcile, even as a child, that there was this old man sitting on a throne somewhere with a pad of paper and a pen, arbitrarily bestowing gifts on others and plagues on the other ones. It just didn't reconcile. And so I went on this journey internally, because I had to do it internally, because my parents would have a fit if they realized what I was really up to. But I had to find that place within me that felt right. And source energy is everything. And if it's everything, it's in me too.
And then it empowers you, considering the context. It empowers you to feel like you're not a victim, that things aren't happening to you, because if source energy is everything and it is therefore also in you, then how could it be possible that things are happening to you when you are the source of those things? And then it seems that they must therefore be for you, as you said earlier, because you are the source. You are source energy. So why would it be anything other than the fact that you are the source of them, and therefore you're bringing them to your experience, and you can choose to have different experiences?
We're all creators. We have that, and it's our free will as to what we are creating. And so it comes with this hefty, large size kind of responsibility hooked onto it, but it's worth it. It's worth it to know the power that you are, that if you can think something, that you can have it. And I'm not talking about just material things. If you want that happiness, you can have it. It's yours. You already have it. You just have to become aware that that is who you are. You can have love, be loved, give love whenever you want, because that is who you are. You just need your awareness to turn around again and understand that that is who you are. And you can create the life that you prefer. Heaven really is on earth, as far as I'm concerned, as well as hell. And we live and make our own, and we reap the benefit or we pay the consequences thereof. It's there, that universal law of cause and effect. Some people call it karma. I don't particularly care for that, but it's the laws of cause and effect. Anything you see around you is the effect field. And that's past tense. It's already been manifested, what you've been thinking and feeling. And if you want to change, then you change the causal thought. So the mind is the cause field. And we have all this power, yet we're kind of focused on using it a certain way. If we're focused on it at all, many of us are conditioned to believe we're powerless. And so we live our life by default. And what's the default setting? Negative, right? Because that's the nature of the conditioning. So we do have all this power. We are here to create responsibly, and source energy is in all of us, not just spiritual people, not just people who are being of service. It is in each and every one of us. And if we learn to use it and focus properly in our lives, we wouldn't have a problem on the planet. That's how powerful we are. It's amazing to me. That's the miracle.
So now that we've already started to go into this here, how does the universe work? What are the most fundamental rules or laws by which everything in the world operates?
Oh, well, to me, the universe is simple perfection. That's just what it is. And it is this pure positive field of potentiality. All things are possible. It's there, it's living, it responds. It doesn't tell you what to do. It simply responds with what you feel you should be doing or how you're feeling. And the living universal laws, as I call them, are the fundamental mechanics as to how and what drives the universe, and what we can see the universe is moving and why. So the living universal laws are the mechanics of the universe. And if we could just understand the nature of energy, the council has told me this over and over again, if you can just understand the nature of energy, you would never have to ask another question again. And so if we begin to understand the universal laws, then we can see, like the big ones that come to mind, and really no universal law is bigger than the other. But there's the law of vibration, which causes the law of attraction to do its job. There is the law of correspondence, which really is the mechanics of creation, if you really pay attention to how that works. Then we have the law of polarity that always tells you, as soon as you know what it is you don't want, you automatically can know that what you do want it's vibrationally available to you. You just have to seek it out and bring your vibration up to it. There is the law of rhythm that dictates that everything has an ebb and flow in life. So if you feel that you aren't getting what you think you should be getting, or you did have something that you really wanted and it's sort of flowing away from you, just know that there's a time and a season to all activity, and whatever flows away is meant to, whatever comes back is better. So don't cry a river over what seems to be flowing away, because something better is going to be coming along to you, and always at the perfect time. You don't even have to worry about when or how. That's not even in your equation to sort of worry about. That is the dictate of the universe. And if we could just learn to trust that flow, lives transform, civilizations transform, societies transform, and then globally a planet can transform itself. So there's power in that, and to me it's the universal laws that are the mechanics of it.
That's beautifully expressed. I really like the way you put that.
Oh, thank you.
Before we go on to the next planned question, I want to ask, for the sake of those listening, to get a little more clarity. So you speak of the Council of 12, your teachers, and other, other things here that obviously not everyone's going to immediately know what you're talking about. So what does it mean for you? How would you explain to someone what it means for you to be a channel, to speak of the higher consciousness, the Council of 12? What all these concepts mean in your terms? How would you define them for people who don't know what they mean?
Okay, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that, because it isn't something that people will readily recognize. We have spirit guides, and right now I'm working with like 13. Doesn't make me special, it just means I need a lot of help. And then we have a higher consciousness, so it's a vibration or a frequency above the typical spirit guide. And if you're familiar at all, if anyone is familiar at all with Abraham, from Abraham Hicks, the Council of 12 is quite similar. In fact, it's the same kind of vibration that I'm accessing. It's just called something different. And they are really instrumental in helping me put together, not only just for my own purposes in my own life, the creative process and the manifestation process, but they're teaching me basically how to live, how they're showing me who I came here to be, and they're helping me step in to myself to be that. And in order for me to do that, they have me teaching that, right? So the Council of 12 is a higher consciousness. It is, it's still, and this is a little gray area, even for me at times. I don't like the idea of separation, but sometimes that is the only way to explain levels. And really, spirit guides, I always kind of thought that spirit guides were those energies who didn't want to incarnate this lifetime, that specifically were contracted to you to help you evolve through your lifetime here. And then I since learned through the Council of 12 that spirit guides are really different aspects of ourselves that we personify, simply because as a human being, we find it easier to learn from something we believe is to be greater or higher than ourselves. So really, spirit guides are just components and aspects of ourselves that we personify to learn. And I am learning as well that this higher consciousness of the 12 is the same thing. It is just ancient wisdom that is coursing through, and it is living. And because there is no past, present, future, there's only now, it means everything is still relevant. It's right here and right now, and it comes forward. So I hope that explains it somewhat.
So yes, I mean, so to put it all together here, you've explained that you see it, that we are all source energy, that everything is source energy, that everything is source essentially, and now that spirit guides are parts of ourselves personified, and that our higher consciousness is also a part of us in a sense, because it's part of source, it's part of the remembrance, the things that the wisdom that's everywhere that we're just accessing, and so in a sense, it's really all source energy. That is us, and all of these things that we could be contacting in some way or other and accessing, it's all parts of us. It's all part of that same source energy that we are part of.
Correct. It's all us. It's the same stuff. We just access it, and some of us do, some of us don't. Some of us don't feel a need to do that. And that's quite all right. It's just, that's just the nature of my trip down my path this lifetime, is that is there for me, and I am accessing it, and it's really helpful to me. And I find that if it's helpful to me, it can be of benefit to others. And that's one thing that I really stress when I'm teaching, is that I never teach anything I have not experienced myself, because it's very important to have integrity in this line of work, for sure, at any line of work, but in mine specifically, I want to be able to walk my talk. To me, that that is the only way to do it. So when I say these things that, oh yeah, spirit guides are just different aspects of self, it's what I've experienced. It's what I believe to be true. So, and that could evolve and change, you know, later on down the road. But right now it works for me.
It's the sort of expanding, evolving spectrum of truth that we're all on some point on the spectrum at any point in time, and what surrounds us is our truth, and we experience that as truth. And the sort of key is to be open to the fact that that truth is always evolving, and that we're okay with that. We could be okay with that rather than trying to hold on to what at one point in time seemed to be truth, because it was our truth at that point in time, and that you know, can then evolve and expand, and then we could be open to new lessons that might cause us to question and change that truth so that we can better understand the reality for the vibration that we're on at a different point in time.
Exactly, and it's all predicated on what our vibration is. So we're never given more than what our vibration actually dictates. It's the same as when we have children and your 2-year-old says, you know, where do babies come from? You don't sit down and give them the whole scoop, right? From beginning to end, you answer to the way, the vibration of the question that was asked, and you give them just enough, and you know that that's enough because they're satisfied. And that's the same with us when we are learning. Our vibration raises, and as we evolve, it goes a little higher, and when it goes a little higher, then more information can come in because it's in alignment with that. But it can't come in until it does go up. So yeah, everything's predicated on that energy thing.
And then just connected to that, just to bring some things together here, what are other people in this, just to like hear from you, because obviously, so we are all source energy, you know, spirit guides, higher consciousness, it's all parts of us, it's all parts of the same source energy. So then just to sort of be more explicit about it and see what you might add to it, what are other people in all of this picture?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit there, Jonathan.
What are other people in all this picture? So like we have different things are parts of us. Everything is part of us. Everything, we're source energy, and spirit guides and higher consciousness, and everything is part of that same source energy. It's just personified parts of ourselves and connection to higher parts of ourselves. And so then what are other people in this world when we're experiencing them? How would we describe them in relation to us, in relation to the, like what we've just, this picture, putting them in the puzzle of this picture?
Well, even individuals that we bump around with on this plane of existence, they are energy as well. And on a soul level, the soul blueprint knows exactly what it's here to do. If you can imagine that when we're born, we just didn't drop out of the sky and land somewhere and didn't know what we were supposed to be doing. Due to the universe, the universal laws, and that law of attraction, as soon as we took that first breath, we began attracting in that which we came here to accomplish. And so everyone that we are interacting with is supposed to be there. It doesn't matter how remote that person is. You pass someone on the sidewalk. That was all by design. That's all ruled by your vibration, and just at the right time as well. And so then there are going to be others that are a huge role in your life. Like my parents, for example, when, you know, the child abuse factor, they played their roles well. And so some people choose to come through as the, you know, there's the victim and then there's the victimizer. But all that is done, at least as far as I know, by soul agreement. I came down here saying, well, I'm going to set it up really tough for myself so that I can make great advancements in a very short time, so that I can be as of service for as long as possible. And the other two energies said, hey, I need to go down and be a victimizer to balance my soul karma. So, you know, let's team up, and everything unfolds. So everything has meaning. Source energy never, ever, ever says, oops, I didn't mean for that to happen, right? Everything is driven by the energy of source. And because it's filtered through this physical form, it develops an ego so that we can navigate this plane of existence. But we are still that energy attracting in at all times. And then there is the personal unique coding that we sort of go through just because of the experiences and how we interpret those experiences and what we carry because of those experiences. Then it changes and shifts again, and we start attracting different things in. But every person matters, whether you're driving by them in traffic or whether they're your best friend or whether they're your soulmate that has allowed a ground zero effect to take place in your life. Everything is happening in complete and utter perfection. And so everyone has their role. I really believe that.
That's wonderful to hear the big picture all put together at once. It's like everything's so magnificent and awe-inspiring and beautiful when we can look at it from that perspective. If only we could just bring that awareness into each moment of experience in this reality, in every moment, and that's obviously what we could be going for, to be able to be aware of that full picture, even as we get lost at times in the specifics of emotional experiences while we're playing out those roles, and people are playing out those roles with us that we brought to us, and to be able to remember that bigger picture. This is all playing out as part of something that we brought to ourselves so we could grow from, learn from, that it's all part of this bigger picture, and everything is balancing itself out and expanding and growing, and it's all, you know, like with source running the source energy, like infusing everything, running the show, like everything's being overseen and everything's operating beautifully, harmoniously, perfectly as it is, regardless of how we might be inclined to see it at any point in time. It's all perfect.
And it makes everyone begin to realize, hopefully, how important each and every individual truly is. They have the same power as everyone else, and yet we're just more engrossed in how they're using it and what they're doing and what they're choosing. And if we just kind of stopped with the judgment and just understood that free will is there for everyone, and just to express that unconditional love, then things will always come back to a place of preference. And it's absolutely amazing to me that when it comes full circle, and you speak of the bigger picture, it's overwhelming to people sometimes. But when you witness it and allow it to live within you and allow it to unfold, it's pretty miraculous. And yes, you know, you have to be reminded every moment. I have to remind myself. And sometimes, I kid you not, Jonathan, I feel like Prometheus stealing fire from the ethers and physically bringing it down to this plane of existence and reminding myself, yes, this is what I'm here to do. And when I start remembering again, then I become more empowered, and then I can move along more effortlessly. Yeah, it's amazing to me.
And that's I really like the way you put that. I resonate sometimes with that idea of bringing fire down from the gods, in a sense. And then there's like this slight fear, like, you know, are people going to be ready for this? Like, how are people going to use this fire that I'm handing them? And are they even going to be able to take it in? Like, are they going to be able to make use of this? Why am I even trying to bring them fire right now? Like, they have other things that they could deal with at this moment. Maybe fire is like too much at this moment. And then it's for me to recognize that it's really just to the extent to which it's too much for me at that moment that I would even think that, because obviously I will be able to, if I have access to it, then it means that there are those who can benefit from it. And it's only when I've become accepting of my capacity to receive it myself that I could then bring the right people in at the right times, in the right places, with the right vibrations, that they could receive it as well. And then it doesn't feel like, then it doesn't feel as much like bringing fire from the gods, because it feels like it's all playing out purposefully, and there's no stealing, there's no like bringing things before people might be ready. Everything's perfect.
True. And you know, I have to remind myself that I'm not the only person with this vibration. I'm not the only person resonating at this frequency. So if I'm accessing the fire, so to speak, I'm not the only one. There must be others, and there must be others that are leaving it behind so that I have something to grab onto as I go. And so they're not dismissing those little pebbles, right? They're reverent towards that. Somebody is going to need that at some point. And yet there are ones that are just about there that just need to be inspired in order to reach that level. And there it is. So it doesn't matter why you're doing it, it's that you can do it at all. That's what I keep saying. And when I teach mediumship, which I have a development circle that I run, it's always very exciting for people to be able to communicate with the unseen. But it doesn't mean that you are the only one that can manage to deliver a message at a specific time. I have had, or I've seen people, you know, they, oh, now I'm a medium, and they get on a bus and it's like, oh, I have this message, but I don't know who it's for. And it's very dramatic, and they have to latch on to people and talk to them and see if it's for them. And it's like, no, you know, I've been like this all my life. I know that I can turn it off, and it's just a matter of placing my focus somewhere else momentarily. You're not the only medium in the world. If spirit is anxious to, spirit never gets anxious, let's get that straight. But if spirit wants to get a message across to someone, if you can't do it right then and there, they will always move along to someone who can. You're not the only person. So, you know, the same goes with our vibration. If we can reach a certain level, I understand that fear you have. It's like, oh, is everybody ready for this? Well, obviously, there have been and there will be. And right now, it's just your turn, right? So, yeah, and you can bring it down all you want, and those that are ready for it will experience it. Those who are not won't even see it. So, it's all good. It's all good.
And then that's where trust comes back into the picture.
The biggest lesson of all, I think, right? Yeah, trust is the kicker for a lot of people. And, you know, I want to add here that everyone feels that trust is something you bestow on another. And I have to be honest here. And if somebody said to me, Ara, I really trust you, I would run screaming from the room, because what they've said to me is that I trust that you will behave in a way that is appropriate to me. And that is not unconditional at all. What the Council of 12 has taught me is that the only trust that ever comes into the equation is to be able to trust yourself to handle whatever comes along. And so it's never about anybody else. It's only about you. And when you are in this line of service, myself being a medium, you know, yeah, you know what that means. It means that I connect with loved ones who have died. And some people think that's absolutely crazy. Well, sometimes some of the things they tell me are absolutely crazy. And I sit with a client, and all of a sudden the spirit is wanting me to talk about how someone had pierogies for dinner the night before. And I'm like, really? You have this magical moment where you can say anything you want, and you want me to talk about pierogies? I have to trust that, right? And so I say it. And when I say it, the client dissolves into tears, because they did have pierogies the night before, and she thought she felt her father there, and there was the validation. If I didn't trust it, it never would have been said. So I've learned through that tool, and in the expansion of my own psychic awareness, what to trust. I know how it feels when I'm a little off. I know how it feels when I just want it to be something. And I know what it feels like when it's bang on. And so you have to trust what you feel and what you think and what you see and what you don't see. It's all about trust, for sure.
So would you say that would be the answer to your next question here? What do you believe is the most important thing for every person to know? If you could tell every human being on the planet one thing, what would it be?
Well, trust self. Learn to trust self. You won't be sorry. It changes everything. The other thing is, I want people to understand, one of my mandates, besides empowering people, is to demystify the mystical, because there's too much theatrics going on out there. What I do, everybody can do. It's the base of who we are. And when I hear statements from people saying the power is within, and everybody goes, oh yeah, okay, huh? You know, like, what does that mean? Where is it? How do I access it? It never sort of gets explained. And so the one real statement that I would love people to understand is that the power that you are is your focus. It's your focus. That is your power. Wherever you place it, you are expanding energy. You are creating. And so watch and be mindful as to what you're giving your attention to. Does the guy who cut you off in traffic really deserve all this energy and attention from you? No, they don't. So immediately turn it to something that makes you feel better. And when you do that, your life will transform. Again, another really important aspect of our life is the unconditional love. Learn to express it. Be more mindful as to what you're contributing to people and to dynamics and to situations rather than what you're getting. Because when you flip it around, and there's that backwards concept again, when you flip it around, life changes on a dime, because now you are a contributor of magnificent proportion and not worrying about what you get back or what you're getting from people. I see this with empaths all the time. They don't want to go to the shopping mall because they take on everyone's energy, and oh my goodness, they gives them migraine headaches, and oh, someone's having a heart attack, I can feel it. And I ask them, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of allowing yourself to feel that? And it's like, well, that's my lot in life, you know, to feel everybody's pain. And I look at them because of law of polarity, right? Law of polarity states the opposite exists. I have yet to hear an empath come to me and say, you know, I went to the mall today and I felt this most joyful person. I just wanted to follow that person around the entire mall because it just felt so good, right? That's there for us. That is there for us. So learn to turn everything backwards and pay attention to what you're contributing to situations and dynamics and people, and you will be surprised at what comes back. And lastly, I think, is that we are human. We are human, but we're power and magnificence and divinity within the physical vehicle. When I hear people say, I'm only human, is really saying to me that I'm just a spectator in life. This is, you know, I'm out. I'm on the sidelines and I'm not going to participate because, you know, I'm only human. There's only so much I can do. We are here not only to create responsibly and expand consciousness, etc., but we are here to uplift above our humanness. And it's that way that we begin to remember who we truly are. We are more than human, but because we have this flesh, blood, and bone stuff going on, we think this is all we are. We're more than that. We are source energy. There's a spark of it that keeps us breathing, and the rest exists outside of ourselves. And it exists everywhere all at once also. And you can draw in on that power that you are, actually uplift yourself through and over challenges. So are you going to feel victimized by arbitrary motions and movements in life? You are a pure, positive, magnificent force to be reckoned with. And you are the miracle in motion that can uplift through any situation. Trust it, believe it, and live it.
That was great. I wonder if I want to be asking this, but I feel that I do. If you were to boil all of those lessons down, if you had to share just one thing, because people weren't, like, you, for some reason, like it was only allowed to you, people were only going to hear one thing, and then you had to just share one message, and you knew that this one message is what you could share with everyone on earth, and you had to boil all those lessons down, either to combine them and like make them one, or to like choose one, or choose a couple that became one. How would you convey that one message that everyone could most benefit from? How would you boil it all down if you had to?
I feel it would have to be express unconditional love in every moment. That's it. Don't seek it. Don't pine for it. Just be it. And all things will change.
Powerful. that's a good sort of actionable message that does in a lot of ways combine everything you just said. And if people could practice that, then they could, and experience that, then they could glean the rest of what you just said. And so in a lot of ways, the rest of it like sort of can overflow out of the experience of that, of practicing unconditional love. When you understand what that really means, when you're experiencing it, to be able to then see that all the rest overflows from that.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing. It's all so amazing. And I'm the luckiest person in the world that I get to live this and be it and teach it. And yes, very fortunate.
May we all feel that way about whatever we're doing.
Yes.
That we're the luckiest person in the world.
Yeah, it's called passion.
Mm-hmm.
It's called passion.
Thank you so much, Ara, for your time and for sharing your story and lessons with me today. This was fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
And thank you to all who are watching. Have a great day.